We are live on YouTube.
I believe we're live, pal. How are you, man?
I'm good. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the tip of the week.
Tip of
Winning
the
on
week.
Shopify. Boom. So this is actually the battle royale. So the tip is it's going to be a knockout, drag out debate, and the last business model standing wins.
Yeah, this is like our March Madness a little bit. We're doing head-to-head competition, business model versus business model. You take one side, I take the other side. We have an ultimate debate showdown.
Yes.
And we get clarity along the way for everybody who's interested in these business models. And this is kind of a fun format, man. I'm liking this.
It is fun. It is definitely fun. I'm enjoying it as well.
So if you're watching us live now and are checking this one out, go back and look at last week's Battle Royal. Last week was private label versus print on demand. And which one of those business models are better? We did a ultimate debate, and I took private label. Kyle took print on demand. And I think in my opinion, I won. But anyway, but we've already heard back from our inner circle community and people who, in our coaching client group who have said that was helpful because, as you know, with many of these things, people are like, they hear the pitch for one of these things. They hear the pitch for private label or hear the pitch for print on demand. And then it's like all good. It's like all like, yeah. But what they don't hear is somebody say, here's all the ways it totally sucks, and
right.
And so that's a little bit of what we're trying to do on this head-to-head battle royal showdown, one business model versus the other. So, yeah. You ready for today?
I'm ready for today.
All right, man. All right, let's do it. So today's two business models we're going to do head-to-head are retail arbitrage versus online arbitrage.
Mm-hmm.
And so as is our format now, since, this is like a thing, give a
bump, 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 bump.
You want the music? You need the.
I need some Rocky music.
Right. Oh my gosh! You ready for the music?
I'm ready. I need some music.
Oh man!
I need it. Adrian. Ready.
This is on my jogging playlist.
I like it. Let's do it. Time ready to rumble. All right.
Now let's break it down. Okay, so as is our format, I'm going to give a description of retail arbitrage to just clarify what we're talking about. You're going to give a description of online arbitrage to clarify what you're talking about, and then we're going to present the pros and cons. You give us your best opinion about what the strongest cool thing is about online arbitrage. I'll give the best my opinion about what the strongest aspect of retail arbitrage is, and we'll kind of counterpunch, go from there. Have a little debate, good old-fashioned debate. Sound all right?
Sounds great.
You want to go first with the overview, or you want me to? You choose.
Either way, I'll cede the floor to you, sir. You may go first.
Retail arbitrage is the business process of finding product in one location, locally to yourself in a retail context where you're buying it from somebody, and then selling it online. And it's pretty straightforward. The local buying can be multiple types of local things, ways we can, and I'll talk through that. And then the online selling typically is Amazon, but it could also be eBay. It could be OfferUp. It could be, Let Go, Craigslist. It's just the idea of finding it locally and buying it locally and then selling it online. And they call it arbitrage because of the economic term related to the difference you pay in one marketplace versus another marketplace. And the idea of arbitrage is the idea of, buying at different price points and making money on the margin when you buy one place, sell in the other place. So that's retail arbitrage. Is that an adequate description?
That is an adequate description. I believe that
could be. Sorry, I'm losing my internet here. It could be local.
Oh, I think he's gone.
It could be discount stores.
Yeah.
I'm back, I think. It could be clearance stores. It could be even garage sales counts as retail arbitrage. It could be you could see somebody locally and buy their stuff out of a storage unit. Swap meets, flea markets, farmers markets, you name it. I mean, it's the idea of anywhere local, and then sell it online. That's the business model. That is become insanely popular over the last 10 years. Amazon's growth has really fueled the idea and has created a ready marketplace for retail arbitrageurs. And so that's the biz model. All right, you want to break yours down?
Sure. Online arbitrage is very, very similar, except you are not going to a physical location to source your product. You are going to other marketplaces or websites and finding a product that you can purchase at a cheaper price and sell it at a higher price on a different website or marketplace. That's it in a nutshell. Typically, online arbitrage, you are selling on Amazon or you're selling on eBay, and you're sourcing these from places like Walmart, places like, Overstock, Home Depot. There's a whole range of stores that are out there. I mean, you could technically do a little bit AliExpress style as well. Now, particularly since they're in the US, it's sort of more like online arbitrage than traditional drop shipping. But I mean, it's all, in essence, they use a drop shipping sort of model to fuel it. But that's online arbitrage.
There you go. Yeah. And online arbitrage, of course, is very, very popular as well. I think they both appeal to different kind of people a little bit, maybe.
They do, for sure. And there's the strengths and weaknesses in both. I think we're going to dive into. It helps sort of define that.
Do you have a good online arbitrage story? The one that comes to my mind is it one of our students, I just say, the story about going to Wendy's was cracking me up last week. You can tell that story if you want about online arbitrage, but I have a story I'll tell about retail arbitrage too, if you want, just to tell funny stories.
I was trying to remember, where did he source that from? Was it
he sourced it on Amazon and sold it on eBay.
That's right. Yep. So basically, one of our students in our undergraduate class, he wanted to make some money so he could go to Wendy's. He was a poor college student. And he was like, how could I do this? And he found like a lightning deal that was all going on, like
sunglasses.
Sunglasses on Amazon. He posts it up on eBay as a sale and then buys them. He bought some of them on like a lightning deal or super cheap. And then basically just was sending them off to eBay buyers to make a little bit of money because he was taking the spread, going to Wendy's.
I love that. Like the ultimate use case for why you need to start a business is so you can go to Wendy's.
But it's kind of like the ultimate use case for online arbitrage too. It's like, I need a little extra cash. How do I do it quick? Boom! I just find an opportunity. Yeah. You can pull it off. So
yeah. Oh man. So my favorite retail arbitrage story is one I like to tell myself. My own dynasty of retail arbitrage business. I one day was going into Office Depot to buy some stuff for our store. I noticed that there was a shopping cart full of products in the front and it said clearance, prices marked. So I looked inside and it was a bunch of those plastic, the letters that you put onto glass, when you like put them on and it like says Dr. Smith's, like whatever. And then like that. And so they were, they come in those packages. They're like 8.5 by 11. And they have like gold or silver or whatever. And so I had my phone app for Amazon and just looked. And on Amazon, they're $9.99 a piece. And in the shopping cart, they were marked at 50 cents. So, and the shopping cart was about this deep full. I mean, it was a lot of them, like a lot. So I was like, there were a couple different varieties. So I picked a bunch of them up and I took them up to the front counter. And so the lady started ringing them up and they started coming through as 1 cent, like 1 cent. And I was like, oh, I thought those were 50 cents. And she said, no, it's it's coming up as 1 cent. This happens when they're about to take stuff off the floor and throw it away or whatever. And so these are a penny a piece. And I was like, hang on 1 second. So I went back over, got the whole shopping cart and just pushed it right through. So literally.
She probably hated you. She's like, oh man, I got to scan every single one of these.
It was I believe it was 280 pieces. So it's $2.80. Those suckers sold for like 3 years. $10 a piece. I mean, they would just go, man. They were just constantly going. And so that was a fun example in my own little life of crushing it with retail arbitrage. And so that's how it works. All right. So fun stories. I didn't go to Wendy's that I can remember one time from all of that money.
You missed out. Your motivation for retail arbitrage wasn't strong enough. So if you had a Wendy's motivation, you'd probably still be out there crushing retail arbitrage.
Maybe. Oh man. All right. So there's fun. Everybody has stories about these types of businesses. Retail arbitrage is just, it's a business model that creates funny stories.
Sure.
And so that's the fun part about it.
I have a friend who does retail arbitrage, but he'll go and so here's his thing. He buys gift cards with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That he's made money with Bitcoin. Yeah. And then goes and buys things in bulk at discount when he sees it, either retail or even online. And then uses software to actually, he might be doing this online, or he might be using it online. This might be an online arbitrage model, but he'll find new software to post it on eBay when he finds it using the software, but then he pays for it with gift cards that he buys with Bitcoin.
He uses the gift cards just because he can't pay with Bitcoin. He doesn't save any money on the gift card part. It's just a way to pay.
Well, he can buy them like in bulk or something like that, or he buys them at like a discount or something to that effect, where he gets extra money if he's buying it with gift cards.
Okay. All right. So let's go for our best business model attribute. What is the best business model attribute? What is the coolest part, the most meaningful, awesome part of retail arbitrage versus online arbitrage? And let me just say one thing about business models in general. And I geek out over this stuff. I love this stuff. And one of the things that you can do to help yourself if you're trying to figure out a business model for online selling is, I know it sounds funny, but go read the work of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Warren Buffett's letters to his shareholders at Berkshire Hathaway is basically 30 or 45 years of business model critique. And his, part of his letters is really an analysis of why a business model, good or bad. They shed so much light on business models. And then also Poor Charlie's Almanac is a book that I've heard mentioned by so many e-commerce and online sellers. And I never had gotten it. I saw it one time in the store and I didn't buy it, but then I bought a copy on Amazon. And I'm reading this book by Charlie Munger. And if you're not familiar with who he is, Warren Buffett's second richest man in the world, or third, and Charlie Munger is his sidekick, and they're legendary for business operations. They break stuff down so clearly. And in Poor Charlie's Almanac, dude, it's like he's a genius at this stuff. How to evaluate whether a business is a good business in practical Nebraska farm boy, simple terms, just straightforward. And so anyway, so if you're wondering about all of this stuff and you're trying to figure out an online business model, then I would encourage you to go in those directions. Okay, but with that said, let's geek out a bit over best business use case for online arbitrage. You go first, and then I'll share retail.
Okay. Before we do that, there is some similarities between the business models that have shared benefit. I think it's worth talking about the shared pros of both arbitrage models. Like one is you don't have a massive amount of inventory that you have to buy out of pocket. Like I don't have to go order 10,000 units of a product and have it imported from wherever the manufacturing and then have it sit in a warehouse. So there's lower capital. It's less capital intensive
compared to what you're thinking about, which is like a minimum order quantity situation where you're buying stuff in China from manufacturer.
Right. So like
which would be a different business model.
Yeah, like the standard Amazon FBA business model where you have product, you buy that product, you ship it in. And in some cases, you may add that into a retail arbitrage model where you buy something retail and you send it in and have it in FBA. That's potential. Yeah. That's part of ways.
Good point.
But that is a truly good benefit that falls on both sides for the arbitrage model, right? And makes it easier for people just getting started to get familiar with a platform. One of the challenges of selling on a platform like Amazon is that it's fairly complex. There's a lot of moving parts in an Amazon business that it's helpful if you can sort of get your feet wet and learn the processes and learn the systems with very low risk, being that you don't have to put a lot of capital into it. So there's inherent benefits in that. I think it's also something that if someone has enough like drive and hustle, you can make some money, and you can do it relatively quickly with a retail arbitrage, with both arbitrage models, right? Like you can just jump into it. You can make cash. You can go buy some food at Wendy's with it, right? Like you make money and it's there, right? Like it's just there.
Yeah.
So those in my mind are sort of the big pros to both models. Now, obviously, I think we can kind of go into, why as a con, as a whole, as a business model, and then we can look at the breakdown of RA versus OA for sure.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I like that. Yeah, so I think you're totally right. We could geek out over all of the pros and cons against other business models, but in general, I think they share those attributes. Totally agree. This is an opportunity for somebody who's got $5 in their pocket,
right,
or $20 in their pocket and want to pop some tags. This is that business model.
Calm down, Macklemore.
And exactly, right? So that's okay, cool. All right. Now go. What's the best attribute of online arbitrage?
The best attribute of online arbitrage is location neutrality. And what I mean by that is that I, as an online arbitrager, am not locked in to my specific location. So if I wanted to live in Nebraska or Iowa, I could in fact sell at scale.
Oh, you mean your location as a seller? No, okay.
As a seller, right? Okay. So because that is a pro on the side of online arbitrage, because it's not based on my location. It's based on wherever those products are being stored and sold on these different platforms in which I'm buying and selling.
Which means you could run this business from your laptop on a beach or in the backside of Alaska, wherever you got internet.
Run it from anywhere.
The mountains,
right.
Your cave.
So that's a pro. So I don't know. Do you want to meet a pro and then con?
I'll do a pro for retail arbitrage.
Okay, pro first,
and then we'll debate each other's pro.
Sure.
So or we'll give a negative about the other. The biggest advantage, in my opinion, of retail arbitrage is you've got a local opportunity that is not known to global competitors. So, and what do I mean by that? So, for example, if I go to a store that's going out of business, like a local bookstore, local clothing store, whatever, I'm not competing as the buyer of those, as the person who's trying to, do arbitrage, not competing with the whole internet of online sellers. And I'm only competing against maybe local people who might know retail arbitrage.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's a massive, massive advantage, because although if you live in the mountains and there, you're out in the hinterlands, you don't have these opportunities. If you live in a larger city or even a medium-sized town, you can end up having shelf clearing local opportunity where you just don't have any competitors. There's no other buyer. There's nobody who, because a lot of situations occur where there's literally no other person willing to offer somebody the money for what they're trying to sell except for you. You're like the buyer of last resort.
Yeah.
And, even at like the smallest level, if you go to a garage sale on Sunday afternoon, most garage sales, maybe they're Friday, Saturday, by Sunday, if they're even doing the garage sale, they just want to get rid of the crud. And, if you scan their new in the box products and you see that they've got literally a pile, and you can offer them anything you want. Offer them 10 cents a piece. I had one fun example where I was at a garage sale, and they have these Christmas ornaments that are a certain type, collector ornaments, and this lady had a giant pile of, it was Star Wars styled collector ornaments, and so I scanned them, I looked at them. Sure enough, man, like $20 a piece. She wanted like $5 a piece. At a garage sale, you don't have to offer $5 a piece. No one else was even buying them. It was the summertime. Who wants Christmas ornaments except a retail arbitrager, So I said, how about $1 a piece? And she's like, no, I can't do that. And she's like, I'm gonna do $2 a piece for I said, I'll take all of them. So I cleared the whole pile, man. So that ability to be literally not have any competition on the buy side is how you make huge margin.
Sure.
And so to me, that's the biggest benefit of retail arbitrage. Yeah.
Cool. No, I don't disagree with you on that point. I do think, though, you have to be in a location that does facilitate that. Like you have to be
somewhere that
does that.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously the more people that are there and are learning, and it's not that retail arbitrage is a secret. I mean, there are plenty of big name people on the internet, Gary Vee being one of them, that's a huge advocate to go out there and go garage sailing and stuff. So it's not like you're going to be without competition.
Yeah.
Especially as people are looking for like side hustle gigs to just help, bring in a few hundred extra dollars. So with that, you have to be in a place that allows it to happen. And then also hopefully be not in a place where there's too much competition around it, or other people are looking for the same thing and trying to hustle. That's going to drive up your costs. The other thing is that you have to become very aware of what value is for these products. Like you have to know if you are just buying anything you see, you're going to have to use some sort of software to sort of scan.
But that's true on both sides. That's a true thing about retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing though, and what I'm going to slide into my point for online arbitrage with that is,
we got to critique though. We got to critique each other. Okay, go.
Okay. So basically my critique is location based. It's also my other critique for RA along these lines is it's time based. So what I mean is that you or an employee you hire have to be out there buying constantly if you're trying to get enough to get more than a couple $100 a month out of this deal. So
I don't disagree.
It's a job. So you either have to enjoy it and like to go garage sailing and enjoy making it part of your hobby in which you can make money. That's cool. But if you're trying to build something that's actually going to generate some substantial income off of this, that can't be a very sustainable model.
You're saying I'm not a player if I just do retail arbitrage?
I'm saying that you're going to have a very lovely hobby. That's what I'm saying. Like you're going to have a lovely, lovely hobby, and you'll buy some stuff at Wendy's. It'll be fantastic.
It's Wendy's level. Okay, yeah, all right. That's a pretty bad burn of my business model, but okay.
Well, this is a breakdown.
I take that punch, boom, and I wouldn't disagree. Of all the people we know who do retail arbitrage, it is an entry-level model. Yeah, it's an entry-level model. Okay, so here's my biggest criticism of online arbitrage.
Sure.
You will not find margin in a big margin on online arbitrage very often, because there's two problems with it.
Sure.
It's you're competing against everyone else on the internet on the buy side, which means you won't find a penny item and sell it for $10.
Nope.
It just won't happen on online arbitrage. So you're mostly talking about a margin that's like, oh, well, if I buy this for 8 and I sell it for 11, is there any money there? And it's that kind of sliver of a margin. And to me, that so that's a problem. And then so that on the buying side, you lose margin opportunity. And then on the selling side, you lose margin opportunity, because we were in a syndicate before for shoes, and it's like, oh, these are screaming shoe deals online, buy them here, sell them there. Yeah. Guess how many people get those lists?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so the market finds equilibrium, and that vaporizes your, so yeah, you might do 100 grand in sales, you might do $1 million in sales, but at the end of the day, when you do your tax return and you tell me how much net profit you had through that system, the margin is going to be painfully small,
right,
for net profit. I think.
I agree with you with caveats.
Okay, go.
Here are my caveats. I don't need massive margin if I have massive depth of SKU count. If I have 15,000 SKUs that I'm selling,
it's not an argument. You don't need the money. Margin is the money. You don't need the money. Okay, have a fun job with no money.
I need some margin. I don't need 50% margin, right? Because okay, so here's the argument for this. If you're selling one SKU of one product or 5 products,
yeah,
and you're doing a fixed amount, maybe you're selling 5,000 units a month.
Yeah.
The margin for that is going to matter a lot. You need
$2 a unit, and you got 10 grand a month.
Right. You need a lot of margin to get that to scale. If I have 15,000 SKUs, which I'm not paying for inventory costs, right? And I'm not only making like 5%, 6% margin, but I'm selling 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month. The small margin is still kicking off plenty of cash flow because of the breadth of sales.
All right, hang on, time out. You're not describing online arbitrage as a business model to say you're going to have 10,000 SKUs. Who do you know that has 10,000 SKUs that does online arbitrage?
I do know somebody who has more than 10,000 SKUs.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Okay, how do they run it? It's not them typing in like a chipmunk in the middle of the night finding shoes for $3 off.
It is software run
at scale. Okay.
At scale with VAs. Like straight up, they have it on lockdown.
So how do they do it? So they have software that hunts for certain disparity.
So what they have is they have software built where they go after, but they actually just use VAs that they trained as sourcing agents. And so they have people that are actually
they're looking. Okay. They're the chipmunks at night looking.
They are. Yeah, that's how they do it at scale. But they're running it through the software, which is then looking for the arbitrage opportunity via on like typically Amazon, right? Maybe on eBay as well. But that's how you would then.
And then they buy the product and send it into Amazon. 10,000 units.
They are not buying the product. They're drop shipping. So
that's a different business model, dude. That's not online arbitrage. That's drop shipping. You're out of bounds. You're outside of the business model argument. I knew that wasn't online arbitrage.
but it is.
That's drop shipping.
But it is arbitrage, though. It's not like you're trying to drop.
We should define the term. So in online arbitrage that I'm talking about, you found it online, you buy it online, you sell it online. You don't. It's not drop shipping where you just. That's a different business model.
All right. So let me bring it so I understand. You are finding it online. You're purchasing it yourself. They ship it to you, and then you're repackaging and sending back out to the seller. Is that your online arbitrage?
Yes. Although I suppose you could have it listed somewhere, buy it, and then fulfill the order. But I don't think that's legal.
There's
a lot of risk in that. Yeah. Well. Right. Okay. Right.
So I guess you have to define however you want.
Okay. You're in the gray area, man.
So if it's a gray area, it's a gray area. But like that is
that's gray black hat. That's gray hat behavior. No,
that is how you facilitate a business model like OA.
That's
like
it.
that scales. But yeah, that was how you'd have to do it. Like you
right.
can't physically buy it, grab it, and then send it out, because you're right, there wouldn't be any margins in it.
Okay.
So
all right.
anyway.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. If that
All right, now
counts,
we've
online arbitrage is fine.
we've clarified
We're outside the ring. We're wrestlers outside the ring in a
Jason was trying to slam me through a table
with the chair.
With a chair. He did me with a chair. Out of bounds. So,
all right.
Anyway,
let's get serious here. So what is fair? I don't know. People can make up their own mind whether that's
you decide. You decide
online arbitrage. If that's your version of online arbitrage and you can make a lot of money that way, then great. But drop shipping is a turd in general that we can talk about in a different debate. But let's stick to
that's right. OA,
RA.
Sure.
All right. You want to go next? What's the second best benefit?
All right. Second best benefit of OA versus RA is, in order to get scale, if you can use any of these things, the ability to, if you don't want to do it yourself, you want to pay someone to do it, you'll be able to pay someone cheaper to do an OA strategy than you will doing an RA strategy in general.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That would be a pro in terms of,
because you can get the VAs to do it from wherever.
Get the VAs to do it from anywhere in the world, whatever you can, build them out to do will be significantly cheaper than what you're going to pay someone to go to a location, go to garage sales, go to Goodwill to buy your product.
And so that model, typically the way people propose it's run is the VA in the Philippines does all the research at night while you're asleep. You wake up in the morning, you have a buy list that you decide on, and then you pull the trigger on buying the products, and you're going to make margin on them. You've clarified what opportunity exists, and that's how those business models work. So you get almost like a 24-hour cycle going. Yeah. Okay. All right. I get that. That's a benefit. I get that. And I don't disagree. I mean, to scale retail arbitrage, you have to have buyers, pickers who go and get stuff, and you have to deal with how to train them, pay them, et cetera, et cetera.
We have coaching consulting clients that have that model currently. Like one of their businesses is RA, and they pay someone to go out and do their pick, their buying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I agree with that. Okay. So the second best business use case for retail arbitrage, in my opinion, is it's an entree to big local opportunities. And so, if you want to go up the food chain, great, cool. Everybody wants to scale something. So, but what you can definitely use our retail arbitrage for is you're basically hunting regionally or locally for opportunities to sell online for people who have product that needs to be sold online. And we have, story after story we could share about this. So many things that are huge one-off things where people have literally made like, $80,000 in one deal. Or what we also have commonly happen in our community inner circle and one-on-one coaching is the people will find a regional manufacturer, product maker, and they have no clue about Amazon. They have no clue about online selling, and yet they have a viable product that is liked and some sales channels figured out. And then the opportunity is for you to say, how about if I start buying this in huge quantity? And that can take many forms. It could turn into a private label deal where they use your packaging, your name, or it could just be where you've got an exclusive where you're the only one who sells that person's stuff online, or some versions of that. And that's where retail arbitrage might feel like a nothing burger, go to Wendy's level, but that's where you can lock in some of those deals. And a lot of places around the country, the cool part to me is like, there are a lot of places around the country where there's regional specialties. And like, John, a friend of ours from Northern California, is in the area where they do tons and tons and tons of olive oil. So huge farms. I mean, they just, olive trees. And so in the local farmers market, you see these farmers who have their own label. their own awards. Like these are like world class makers of olive oil. Well, they, you know, it didn't take him and his wife very long to figure out they could approach some of those people who have amazing world class product, but just, you know, would love another sales outlet. And you know, those guys ship olive oil into Amazon by the pallet load now. And it started a local farmers market, you know, I mean, just networking locally, trying to do this kind of thing. That's a pretty good, you have to admit, that's a pretty good benefit of retail arbitrage.
That is a good benefit. So your argument though is like RA allows you to scale into an entirely different business model.
It's a gateway drug.
Right.
It's a gateway drug.
All right.
Call it what it is.
I'll give you that. I mean, it's not like, but just to be clear, your argument is start here, but then actually when you really want to be in a real business, go ahead and move the business model to something that'll be more profitable. I think that's the nutshell of the argument.
Am I losing this debate? I think
we'll let YouTube decide. If you guys can vote in the comments of what you think, how this is going down. But you know,
yeah,
I'm just saying. That was what I heard.
All right.
I heard.
Okay, so you just criticized my benefit. I didn't criticize your benefit. Your benefit is that you can scale staffing in support of online arbitrage economically, efficiently.
Yes.
Have you ever tried to scale VAs? Do you know people who do VAs at scale?
I have not.
I know people who talk about it, and I know people who've tried it, and the people who have tried it don't do it after a while.
Right. I do personally know people who have done it, but it's with the caveat of it's attached to a very strict system and a very strict pieces of software that they use. And they do video shared capture of their screen time. And if they are outside the norm, they get a warning. And if they continue to do it, they get fired. Like it's that straightforward. But
super militant management of your VA. Yeah, because I mean, I think that a lot of people get sold on the idea of a $3 an hour VA or, you know, like $5 an hour, whatever. And that's all well and good. And then you start working with people and then you realize they're 3-timing you, 4-timing you. Yeah. And, you know, then it's like they don't answer. Then it gets weird. Then you're not sure what's happening.
Sure.
And things fall apart. And I've tried it before. I mean, I've done that dance. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. And so I've had times where I thought, hey, a VA could do this. And then after I try that for 3 or 6 months, I'm like, yeah, there's reasons why VAs sort of suck in a way.
There are.
So that's not the panacea.
No, it doesn't solve. But what I think it comes down to your ability to sort of manage them, right? Like, a lot of times people buy them or order a VA or they pay a VA and they're like, oh, I have to abdicate all of the responsibility to managing them, training them. Like I'm paying them to do a job. They should just do it. And that's not realistic, right? Like they have to, they're paid a certain dollar an hour because they have a certain skill set, right? And hopefully you find a VA that's really, really intelligent and smart and motivated and hungry. They shouldn't stay at the $2 an hour level. You should be willing to pay them more because they're going to provide you more value as you train them to do more, right? So you want them to stay with you if you've trained them and they're working hard. But like, if you just say, here, I'm paying you this money, go do this job, and are not following up with them, not holding them accountable, not encouraging. I mean, it's kind of like having like your own team where you need to inspire them, run some prizes, like just do fun things, give them bonuses, treat them like you would your like an employee that was sitting across from you. And I just don't think people do that at a very good level. That's my 2 cents. I don't run VAs at scale, but I have had conversations with people and friends that have done it. And they say you have to be, there is a specific thing you have to follow, and you're going to have to go through a serious amount. I mean, it's like hiring an employee. Like just because you hire somebody doesn't mean they're the right fit the first person you hire, right? Like you may have to go through them until you find the right thing. It's like finding a product, right? You know, it's like finding the right product for you. Same with employees, you know, it's about finding a good fit. So, you know.
All right, closing remarks.
Closing.
Retail arbitrage is a good, solid, well-proven entry-level online business model.
Yes.
That will get you in the game. And if literally 20 years ago, I would have known about it. I had a 10-year period where I wanted to sell online and I had no idea what to do.
Right.
And if I would have known about retail arbitrage, dude, we would have been literally 10 years further ahead.
Sure.
Learning online retailing. And so is it the end all be all, the best business model in the world? Right. No, but it is a proven mousetrap that definitely does something positive if you operate it right. That's my closing remark on retail arbitrage.
I like that. I agree. I think retail arbitrage is a beautiful hobby that can lead you to other things and can give you the experience that's required to run business, to get used to e-commerce.
Stop criticizing my business model, dude.
I'm agreeing with you. I think it's a good way into doing other things and to making money. And
what's your closing remarks for your business? So easy to trash mine.
I know it is. It's easier just to trash them. I think in terms of ease to get started, RA would win.
Okay.
I think you have to have to do an arbitrage online model at scale. It's not worth doing if you're not going to try and scale it, for one.
Okay.
It's going to be much more fun. It'd be better for you exercise wise to go walking around garage sales and just out and about and get the exercise to do RA if you just want to do the hobby.
Yeah.
If you were serious and like, no, I think I want to do some sort of like OA mirrored with some level of drop shipping at some level. The only way you do that is using proven software that works, is knowing the nuances that are involved with it. And because there are challenges with every business model that you have online. There are definitely challenges with an OA model as well. And you have to be good at sort of building and figuring out a team to be able to do that.
And I'll just add one tiny thing. You also need to be good at your margins and managing your expense side. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some ways that you can tack margin on, I think, to the back end of an OA model, via even cashback reward sites. If you're buying through them and they support it, they'll give you some back. So I mean, there's ways you can kind of
but you have to know those things. You have to be good at that.
Again, it comes down to nuance. It comes down to understanding where to pull those levers. And that's not easily and readily available to people. And so that's what makes it a little bit more challenging. But if you were to be able to check those three things off, I think OA in terms of scale has the ability to be a scalable business model for people. And you could actually make it virtual. You could actually have people running. I mean, you still have to, you can't abdicate your business or it's going to crash and burn. But so there's some day-to-day functionality pieces of it in which you could run virtually. I do think that in terms of scalability, OA will be able to scale RA and would win for that purpose. I think it is harder to pull off. I think it's harder to pull off an OA model effectively as opposed to getting started and even doing RA. So that's my argument.
All right. I totally agree. I'm with you 100%. Okay. So YouTube, internet, you must decide. Vote, please. Which business model is best? Online arbitrage or retail arbitrage? Give us your opinion. Who had the best points today in our little showdown? And neither of us will be offended if we lose.
I lose constantly, so I'm not
winning.
I'm not. It's not a new concept for me. It's like my daughter beats me at board games all the time, so awesome. I'm accustomed to it. But yeah, definitely click the bell and subscribe if you've got value out of this. We want to continue to bring more value to the community on YouTube, and Shopify is where you can connect with us. Definitely comment below if you've tried any of these business models and you've had success, or you are good at losing like me and you just failed, it's not a failure. You're testing it out. You're trying new things and you're improving your skill, hopefully, across the board. So,
yep. I think we've got a few more business models to review over the next coming weeks too. So we're going to get to the heavyweight division coming up in the next few weeks. Because let's be honest, some of these business models so far are kind of the lightweight division. So we're going to go head to head in the heavyweight categories coming up in the near future. So
there's some good stuff. I mean, I think this is where real opportunity lies in 2019 to create real business. So
absolutely. All right, my man. It's good times. Have a fantastic weekend.
You too, sir.
Yep. See ya. And let me just wrap it up by saying, if you're watching on YouTube, fantastic. If you're watching this on winningonshopify.com as an embedded video, fantastic. On winningonshopify.com, we've got information about our Inner Circle program, which are our monthly group program. And then we've also got information about one-on-one coaching. Kyle and I have coaching clients that we work with directly to help build their business. And it's a blast. We've been all morning. We've been doing that today. And we love working one-on-one with people to scale up their e-commerce business. And it's a blast to do. So there's information on winningonshopify.com about how to apply. That's by application only. But there's more information there for you to check out if you'd like to. Yeah, good times, man. All right.
Good stuff.
Yep. See ya.
All right. Bye.